few moments? All the sermon helps were of no use this week, and all the past notes I have taken I've tossed. It's a very short reading, and yet it's powerful. It's about one word with 4 letters. Common word used all the time. Mr. Fred, define love for me. Oh yeah, you guys laugh. Heather, can you define love?
Not easily. Deep caring and affection and caring for somebody more than yourself and fears.
Okay. Hey, Dugan, you never had a quiet moment over the last year.
What Heather said.
Nice. You punted. It's an interesting word. It's a word that can have so many different meanings depending upon context. You will know that, all right? The same word we use and overuse, and so subjective. It is the word we use to define relationships, my relationship with my parents, my child, my siblings, my spouse, my partner. It is a relationship, it is a word that's used to describe how I perceive certain foods. Okay? I was telling the kids beforehand, it is now official. My body has reverted to the age of 15, and I am now officially allergic to chocolate. I cannot eat chocolate without getting sick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was not nearly as placid as you just were. I used other words than 4 letters, and they did not include the word love. It defines the books that we read. I love reading that. I love watching people, how they interact with each other. I love a good argument. I love the fact that people will step up when you're so least likely to expect them to, and they surprise you in ways that you're not prepared for in such a good way. Our first reader came as a substitute. I love that. You two guys are substituting for people today. You stepped up when you didn't have to. I love that. I've heard that I have to love as a Christian, but I don't necessarily have to like you. And I know it works in reverse as well. And Prest, on the night before he died, and what you hear today is the second half of the reading that's always read on Holy Thursday and Maundy Thursday, the Gospel. I give you a new commandment. You are going to be known as the people who love each other as Christ loved us. And it's always the whole phrase. Keep that in mind. Love one another as I have loved you. It's a difficult thing to preach about. It is difficult to reflect on, but I offer you a couple of thoughts. We're going to be known not by whether our fundraisers work or don't, whether we have the nicest choir, the best organist, the best preacher. Ultimately, as a parish, we are a Christian community to the extent that we love each other as Christ has loved us. And you take that out from here and you live it. And how did he love his followers? He loved them unselfishly, which is an amazing thing for me because all human love, even the decision to love others, as you know, to be fair, to be honest, is tempered by the reaction of people to us. Okay? There's a certain amount of self that's involved in that. I'm happy when my love is accepted or reciprocated. I feel sad or bummed out when I know that what I offer in terms of friendship or love to another is rejected. And yet Jesus desires to give himself totally for those whom he loved no matter the cost. He loved sacrificially. In his case, love would cost him his life. Do you love those you are sitting with at the moment to the point that you would give your life for them? That's what this is about. It is about loving with acceptance It is about not letting the moods, the weaknesses, the stupid decisions of others affect how we choose to relate to them. And most of all, and most importantly, love is a choice that we make. It is not an emotion we experience. Yes, there is an emotional tinge to it, but love is the decision that I make to care, to see Christ in you as my sister or brother, and to walk with you and to hold you up, whether you choose to reciprocate or not. Look at the group that he associated with. All of them ended up betraying him, denying him, abandoning him, and not understanding him. That was the original core 12. They were blind, insensitive, lacking understanding, and ultimately cowardly, and yet he loved them and said to them, you want to be my disciples? You've got to love each other as much as I love you. There can't be distinctions. That first reading that Lily read, I hope you will take, when you take the flyers, you take it home, read it and read it over and read it over. The early church, and if you study the Acts of the Apostles, the first great crisis that almost tore apart us as a community had nothing to do with sexuality, believe it or not. It had to do with the fact that would we be a community that said there are no boundaries, there are no distinctions, anyone who comes and worships, no matter what their ethnicity would be, they are welcome. If they have faith, we love them. And there was a whole movement that said, no, we've never experienced it, never done that before. Jesus really didn't mean that. Yeah, he did. This morning is not about cute stories. It's not about trying to be witty. It's trying to challenge all of us. It's about love. It is said, we don't know if it's true, I'd like to believe it is, that Thomas More, his great relationship with his oldest daughter, Meg, before he was executed by Henry VIII, and she tried to reason with him. And they had that kind of wonderful father-daughter relationship where they could argue back and forth and still love each other. And she ultimately said, why are you fighting this? You're not being reasonable. And he allegedly says to her, ultimately, it's not a matter of reason, it is a matter of love. Ultimately, everything about us is a matter of love. You cannot define it, but we must live it. You want to be a disciple? Coming here on a Sunday morning? Beautiful. But ultimately, in how you live, it is a matter of love.